Hey everyone, today I have a really fun video for you, and it's actually, you could say, a double treat because I'm collaborating with the lovely Alyona Creates, also here on YouTube, and we're just having fun with pretty colors and watercolors. So we'll each do a video for you inspired by these beautiful flowers. These are from my garden, and then these are from Alyona's garden. And I don't know, I mean, can we just take a look at this beauty? I mean, how lucky are we to live in a world where there are such beautiful things? So the occasion also for our collaboration is because it's fun. But Alyona is also releasing a new course. It's her first one. It's called Playful Watercolor with Mixed Media. I love her channel. Her artwork is beautiful, and I can only imagine that the course will be as lovely and enjoyable. So make sure you check out her video and her class and everything. And I'm also releasing a new class, something completely different. It's a really a much more serious course for me, but I don't want to talk about, like, I don't want to get into the details in this video. This is really just a fun video, and what I'm going to do is kind of just let myself be inspired, and you can come along. I really don't know what I'll do. My whole philosophy about painting florals has completely changed over the years, and I basically just do what I want, and I don't really care about my reference image when it comes to composition. And yeah, I take what I want and I make my own thing out of it. So I'm not really sure which flowers I'll pick. I have painted some of mine, so maybe it'll be just more fun to try something new, but I think I'll just speed it up so the video is, you know, shorter, and I don't know what's going to happen. So let's, you know, embark on this adventure together. Today I'm going to focus a bit more about the intuitive painting aspect, which relates to my class, and then the next video, which will be posted next week, I'll focus more on playful watercolors with mixed media. Now, I haven't actually filmed that, so I'm not sure what it'll be, but I'm looking forward to playing. So I'm starting here with some sketching with just a pen and, you know, a regular sketchbook. This is the Fabriano quadrato, I think they're called, and it's a really, really lovely sketchbook. I am enjoying it a lot. So I do use watercolor in it. It's not watercolor paper. They just make the paper really crinkly, and I like that. So I just feel more comfortable when I'm painting new flowers to kind of get a feel of their shape. And I find that is really hard to do just with watercolors. So I really prefer starting with something like a pencil sketch or a pen. I do like pen more when I'm just sketching. It's just something about it. And if you have like a pen that you really love, I'm using the Kaweco Sport. So these are the cheaper plastic ones from Kaweco. And it's just really, really fun to, you know, sketch with. I really enjoy it, and I learn and I have fun. So it's educational fun. So that's where I'm starting, because the flowers, especially the ones that Alyona sent to me, the photos, sadly not the real flowers, they are just kind of, I've never painted them. So I thought it would be a good idea to start by sketching them. And now I'm also sketching a few things from my own photos. And yeah, that gives me a feeling that I'm a little bit more familiar with what I'm about to paint. And now I'm going to just figure out a color palette that I'm enjoying. I am drawing inspiration from the actual flowers that I'm painting, but I am by no means, I don't try to match colors. That's just not my thing. I choose, if if a flower is like pink, then I'll just choose a pink that I love. And same goes for the foliage and other flowers. So for example, these blue flowers are beautiful, and I think I took them more in the lavender kind of ultramarine direction, as opposed to, I don't know, they just have, well, they kind of have an ultramarine color. But anyway, I'm figuring out a color palette that I like, and I'm also grabbing some pencils. Lately, it is very rare that I only paint with watercolors, and pencils have become a real, something very central, I would say, in my paintings, because I use pencils a lot for adding detail and sketching. So what am I doing? I guess I'm thinking about something, which paper to use. So I'll go with this block, and you can see there the leftovers of my turquoise video. Let me know in the comments if you prefer to see the mixing kind of live, if you want me to do this video real time, the next one where I'll be exploring color mixing. I try to actually prepare all the mixes ahead so that the video is not too long. But yeah, if you prefer to see it real time, then let me know. I might try that and see how that goes for the next video. So I'm starting with a very, very loose sketch in pencils. I don't really care what kind of pencils. I'm actually using pencils that are water resistant, so they're not going to move when I add watercolor. And I think in this case, it's not that, it doesn't really matter, because I'm using light colors that are similar to the colors that I'm going to watercolor with. But if you are using something darker, then you might want to think about it. I recently kind of stepped away from using water-soluble like graphite and that type of thing in these mixed media pieces, because when I add watercolor, they really muddy things up, and I don't mind mud, but I want to control it. And when you add a lot of sketchy lines and then you go in with watercolors that activates that pencil, it can get a bit muddy. So I've mostly switched to oil or wax pencils that are not water soluble. And then if I do use watercolor pencils, it's usually in kind of brighter colors that really coordinate with what I have going on in the painting. So you can see that the main element is one of the flowers that I sketched before, and I'm just kind of making it my own, slowly building the layers and the colors, and then I'm going in with the blue for some supporting flowers. And my composition, I just kind of figure it out as I go. I'm just trying to put things where they look good, but a lot of what I'm going to kind of fill the page with around the flowers are just these very expressive, kind of energetic brush strokes in, different shades. And you'll see that. It was fun to paint this flower because the center, especially the center, is really weird. It has, I don't know, these like pods in this beautiful muted green colors. So I really enjoyed adding those details. But yeah, it's definitely a process, and there is always a point in the painting where things are just, it's kind of, nor here nor there. There's like most of the major elements are already on the paper, but it's still looking kind of flat and not necessarily interesting enough. But I have learned to put faith in the process and just keep going. And usually I just have, my strategies I've developed that if I'm not sure what to do, then I'll move around to another area of the painting, or I'll go in with a pencil. That kind of gives me time to think about things, but I'm still, actually doing something. I'm not just sitting there staring at the painting. So just all these strategies that I've developed, and I go into all of that in great detail in my course. So stay tuned for that. I think the course, I thought about how I can describe it. I think it wouldn't be far from the truth to say that the course is an equivalent of spending a week with me in my studio and just seeing the whole process. I'm really excited about it. It was very interesting and new and challenging for me to make it, because all the videos are in real time. That is also some feedback that I've received many times for my courses, because my kind of natural tendency is to try and make everything as concise as possible, because I know we all have a limited time in our schedule for these, for taking courses. And I always want to make it as, just straight to the point. But this time I'm really taking my time, and everything is in real time, and I just talk through everything that I'm doing. So that means that there's a lot to go through, but hopefully you can kind of paint along and figure things out for yourself while, listening and watching me do my thing. So more on that soon, but let's get back into the painting. So you can see it just like things are slowly coming together. It's almost like there's a cycle. I go in with watercolors, and then when I'm not sure what to do, I switch to pencils. And then when I'm not sure what to do, I'll take my sword brush and add some brush work, and slowly things come together. And I say I don't know what to do. That's not really true. It's just that I feel this is a good way for me to build a painting in a way that results in something that is like pleasing to me. My sentences are very complicated today. I'm not sure what it is, but because I find that if I stay just with watercolors, things get too heavy, and taking those like pencil breaks or sword brush breaks helped me keep everything still very light and airy, but also add a lot of detail and interest to my painting. That is a look. It's a combination that I really enjoy. On one hand, not going too dark, too heavy, but on the other hand, having a lot of layers and a lot of movement and a lot of brush strokes and just like interesting things going on. And all the things that I'm doing together, the splatters and the brush strokes and, the sketchy lines and building colors and adding to the background, like all of these things at the end, they come together to make something that I really enjoy. So at some point, I have to go a bit darker just to make an interesting painting. I always try to find that line of how light I can stay and still make a painting that doesn't look flat. Because if you paint just with very light colors, you don't get a lot of drama, you don't get a lot of dimension. You really need some darks and some contrasts for that. So I'm always kind of trying to push my boundaries and kind of find the way that works for me. to get that aesthetic that I'm after. And yeah, it's definitely go slow. That's what works for me, because if I just go for it, especially in the first layers, if I go too heavy in the first layers, then it's harder for me to end up with something that has that look that I'm after. So now we are going in with the sword brush. I'll write all of the supplies below, but if I forget something, then please feel free to ask. It's always helpful to add a timestamp so that I know exactly what you mean, and then I don't have to go through the whole video to get to the answer to your question. And yeah, now I'm going in with my trusty black pencil. That pencil is one of my favorite things to use. I have to start thinking, I'm recording this June 24th, so I have to start thinking about my monthly favorites. I really want to do that video. I know a lot of you enjoy it, and I completely understand why. It is such a good indication of products that actually, work and serve their purpose and are fun to play with. So that pencil is definitely going to be there. That black pencil, it is just fantastic. I think I've been using the same things in the last months. And if you're wondering what is the next step for my watercolor palette, well, that is a good question. I definitely will be doing a seasonal palette, and I'll keep on doing that until I'm no longer interested in that. But for sure, I'm excited to do an autumn palette and a winter palette for this year. However, I don't know if, should I even mention it, because who knows what's going to happen. But I am supposed to go to Italy in the end of the summer. So I would also love to do an Italy palette. And yeah, but I'm scared to talk about it because of Corona. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the painting. This is where we ended, but I might go back and add even more dark colors. So it's still a work in progress. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'm really looking forward to filming the next video. Make sure you check Alyona's channel and videos and classes and everything. Thank you again for watching, and I wish you a wonderful day. Bye.